Hello and welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair, and you have arrived at Streaming Idiots. Yes, indeed, your number one destination today for all things streaming. Oh boy, I'm so excited. Today's guest is we could call him a rerun because he was here 2 weeks ago, or actually I was there 2 weeks ago. RJ Murdock with Make a Scene Studios in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, is going to come to us in just a few minutes and talk about streaming basketball and his the $1 million inside tips and tricks for doing this. And if you've seen our tweets or our Facebook post today, you saw some strange looking pictures that we were posted. That's RJ's concoctions. I know you're going to be excited about that. Remember, 2 weeks ago, February 1st, we did a show, RJ and I, from his studios in Fort Walton Beach, where he showed his really cool video wall made up of some big screen TVs that he put into a video wall. If you missed that show, go back to the archives, February 1st, and take a look. It'll be well worth it, especially if you're thinking about doing a bricks and mortar studio. You want to take a look at RJ's studio. But first, before we get started on that, do want to tempt your palate with a couple of things. vMix 19 is still in the works, and I am under an oral non-disclosure agreement, which means that I can't say anything, but I can draw pictures in the air and tell you what it's going to be like, and it's going to be really cool. The big feature at this point, of course, is going to be the guest interview feature, where you can basically have a guest on your show by adding an input. Today, RJ and I had to go through some hula hoops to get the Zoom feed to come into vMix and to be piped in with a mix minus and all that stuff, so he doesn't hear his audio and I don't hear my audio, those kinds of things. Well, in the future, all that's going to be done automatically. You know, we have computers. Computers are capable of doing this stuff. And we also have really cool, smart programmers like my cousin Martin down at vMix in Australia. So vMix 19 coming to a computer near you sometime this spring. NAB is in April, so we're hoping to see a beta by then. I'm going to be at NAB, National Association of Broadcasters, in Las Vegas in April. I hope you're going to be there. If you are, let me know so I can keep an eye out for you. And we're going to try to do a Streaming Idiot show live from the floor of NAB again this year. So put NAB on your calendar. Also put on your calendar the June vMix meetup at StreamCon in Atlanta. We'll have more details on that. I think it's the second. It's not really the weekend. It's like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Atlanta, like the 8th, 9th, and 10th. So that's going to be really, really cool. Want to welcome the folks that joined us, that subscribed to us on YouTube this week. We had 20 new subscribers. Steve Runyon, Sin Testing Services, Lou Marcia Barreto, London Video Productions, R Sounds Company, Biz Warren, Jan Ray, Tumbling Planet, Ebony Brinson, Abdul Rahman, Praise Alu Wafemi, how about that one? Simon Omar, Hambone, Guy Blanche, Incidental Sands, Timothy Moon, FC Progress TV, Looky View Productions, Brian Balch, Knuckles KO, and David Charles Samuel. Welcome to our YouTube subscribers. Delighted to have you with us. You can go to YouTube and subscribe. It's that simple. We hope you'll do that. Also, to our Streaming Idiots Facebook group, if you're interested in that. We have 27 new members this week. We welcome those. The newest is Mike Ramirez. Welcome, Mike. Mike just signed up today. Alexis Arvedos, Steve Runyon. Looks like some of the same people here, doesn't it? James Fitzhugh, Tom Sykes, Tim Connor, Iresha Krishani, Michael Joseph Murray, Melvin Carter, Curtis McDonald, Ellis Nelson Vladimir, Tony Lightfoot, John Kraft. Welcome, John. Derek Kenny, Dominic Irving Singh, Bob Cartwright, Susan Dixon Harver, Lamont Watts, Ken Davis. Hey, Ken. Kingdom Cuts, Let's see. Stefan Floss, Kenny David, Sammy Passamaro, Scott Sledgister, is that Jason Schwab, Carmack O'Kane, and David Simon. You know, you think, how can Tom stumble over names? Well, when they're coming fast and furious. But if you're interested in the Facebook group, it's a Streaming Idiots Facebook group. It's folks that follow this show. It's at facebook.com/groups/Streaming Idiots. So it's pretty simple. And we have some great discussions on there. Some of it's technical. Some of it's oriented more towards, you know, how to get your show on the air. Some of it's talking about computers or printers. I mean, not printers, cameras. It is sort of vMix Central. That's kind of the thread that ties through it all. And of course, this show, Streaming Idiots. So we hope you'll take a look and join. R.J. Murdock. R.J. I was thinking back to the time he's here making faces at me on the screen, trying to make me laugh. I was thinking back, you know, when did I first meet R.J. And you know, I can't even remember. It's kind of like we were always friends. It's one of those kinds of things. But RJ has been kind enough to be on this show twice already. This will be his third time and is actually his second time in 2 weeks. But RJ is a full-time professional video guy, videographer, streamer, live broadcaster, whatever you want to call it. He's got his own studio. He does gigs like he's doing for the, and he's making more fun of me here, trying to make me laugh. Like the gig he's doing for the college today, where he broadcasts women's basketball and men's basketball. He's got a really cool setup. Last week we were in a studio talking about what was going on in the studio. Today we're going to talk about what's going on with his basketball streaming, and I see he's gotten up and walked away just as I'm about ready to introduce him. He's got some really cool stuff. RJ is the master. I'm going to bring him in, but I'm going to say some nice things about him first. RJ is the master about taking something that was intended for this purpose, crafting it a little bit, and making it work in this way. And so he's got some really cool stuff. I guess I could tell you about it, or I could let him tell you about that. Does he cover women's beach volleyball? No, Tommy, he does not cover women's beach volleyball. Let's see if we can find our screen with RJ in it. Yeah, here it is. And we'll bring in his audio. Now, I will warn you, there's some background audio because he's in a gymnasium and they're playing a little bit of basketball. So bear with me, and we'll bring him in. RJ, are you there?
I am here, if you can hear me.
Oh, we can. Welcome. Glad to have you.
All right. Well, we're just in time. The gentlemen are just getting ready to come on out and start practicing. We had a little bit of a boy there, but you can see them coming out to the court right now. These are the Northwest Florida Raiders men's team, and they are undefeated in the Panhandle Conference. That's basically a basketball tournament between 5 different colleges here up in Northwest Florida. And if they win tonight, even though there's 3 more games, they win the conference. So it's a big night here tonight.
Awesome. So take us through your courtside setup. I mean, from that camera shot you showed us just a second ago, we could see you down at the table and saw all sorts of cool gear around you. So tell us what's going on.
All right. Well, yes, you're right. I thought about trying to set up all the pictures, and I do have a few pictures on my shared Google Drive that I'll show you with some of the equipment. Then I thought it'd be just kind of neat to be able to just go ahead and walk around and actually show you an actual setup. Not only that, I've got to do this game. I want to set up for this game immediately after this anyway. So I figured, well, what the heck? I'll just go ahead and set it up beforehand and give you guys a walking tour as long as the wireless works. Now, that's the coolest thing right here. Now, you see from above, and I'll show you that camera right there. You see that we're set up over here. Hands waving on the bottom there. So that camera is basically, let's say, 50-yard line, center court, up on the top. And that's the follow cam. That cam basically is following back and forth. I usually have a cameraman working that. And we're going to take a walk up there here in just a little bit. And I'll show you how I've got I've got my audio coming from my commentators running up XLR cable all the way up to that camera, so that way I can put the input on that camera and I have a master recording on a master tape, and I can also take the audio feed right from that camera into my vMix input. The other thing I've got going on is I've got the HDMI coming out of there, going into an HDMI to Cat5 converter, and I've got about 100 foot of Cat5 taped down on the gray concrete here up to the table. So then I got a receiver on this end that I take HDMI back out, and I bring it into one of my two capture cards. The other thing I've got going on, which is kind of neat, is that I've actually, I have a gentleman on the floor who's running back and forth with a handheld wireless cam. We got him on an adjustable monopod. He basically stays center court, and maybe if I can show you. I'm going to have to bring that up. But what I'm going to do, because I don't know how much these guys, how much noise they're going to get right now. They're just coming out. They're getting ready to just kind of warm up here before they actually start shouting. I figure it might be a good idea now to go ahead and do a walk-around tour. So if that's all right with you.
Absolutely.
Tom.
Go for it.
All right. I'm going to get myself kind of set up. Mike's going to go dead for just a second here as I switch to a handheld.
Okay.
All right. And the reason I'm using the handheld right now because I knew that the audio was going to be hard with all the basketball practice going on, and a handheld microphone is always great in attenuating all the background noise. I am on a tethered. Oh, speaking of which, right now there's a lot of noise going on in the background, but I've got a 23 dB earphone earmuff that I've actually got two things going into it right now. I've got a little splitter so that I've got this white 3.5 cable going into, well, usually it'll go into my laptop so I can monitor the audio and hear my commentators and make sure I've got a good feed going on YouTube. But then I also got a walkie on the other one, and that's how I'm basically communicating. I'm going to grab it off my hook here.
Okay,
and what
RJ,
I've done,
you're going to have to switch cameras for us to see that.
Oh.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. All right, so I've got a earmuff on here, the 23 dB earmuff. Got a Y splitter on it. Got a 3.5 going into my computer for the sound. And then I've got the other end of the splitter going on the output of a Retevis walkie. These are great walkies, by the way. They don't have that annoying beep sound. And it talks to you as you power on and as you change channels, so you don't ever have to look at anything. However, what I did is I adapted one of those Secret Service little around the ear plug and took one end out and put a 3.5 plug instead of the little earbud so that I can plug it into this headset. That's kind of a cool thing. Now I'm going to go ahead and get up in the camera. I'm going to dismount it. We're going to walk around the camera while I've got a bit of silence going on with the audio here. So, Tom, feel free to chat while I get behind the scenes screen.
Okay, this is live and unscripted, and your guest just walks off right in the middle of the show. I had an occasion after the show 2 weeks ago in RJ's studio to actually go and watch him set up for the game and sit in on some of the game, and the setup is really, really pretty cool. He has adapted. He is an expert at readapting and reusing. Yeah, RJ, one of the guys in the chat room says that your Shure mic is a nice old one.
Hey, I'm going to do something before I take that camera off the tripod. I don't know how well you can hear me. I'm hearing a lot of distortion. But I've actually got my cell phone on the NDI. I just finally got this app to work on my thing. So let me go and walk around and show you what I was talking about on this camera before we use it to go walk around. Can you guys see okay?
Yes, we can.
All right. So I've got a Sony PXW X70 camera. It's able to do SDI and HDMI out at the same time. And what it has on it is a IO Gear. I'll get the focus going. An IO Gear wireless HDMI transmitter. This is actually a home unit. It's basically built to be able to go jump your satellite TV or so. And about 3 years ago, I pretty much adapted it. I found out that it's actually powered by 5 volts. So I took an HDMI or a USB cable and readjusted it and put a plug on it, so I was able to power. The key is that it really draws about 2 amps worth of power, so you have to have a good USB power pack, which I have over here, and then the HDMI over here. And this, I have my camera guy walking around, and I use this monopod right here so that he can basically run from one end of the court and settle, so he's not getting a lot of fatigue when it comes to holding the camera and getting some good, nice, steady shots. All right, can you see that okay?
Yeah. Tommy wants to know, have you had some problems with things getting damaged so close to the court?
All right, let me switch the camera and get you a better quality one. All right. Oh, I hear. I got double audio. I forgot to take the audio off that NDI input. That's why it sounded so crappy. All right. So I know you're not seeing anything right now. That's because I'm actually moving the camera.
That's okay.
All right. So
this is live.
You're correct that you have to. There's always a possibility that something's going to get damaged. As you can see, I'm courtside and I'm pretty close. And yes, we've had ball flow a couple of times. I think one time it actually just barely nipped the top of this laptop. But like one of the things I've done over here is that I put a sandbag in front of it. And at least it's giving me a little bit of a buffer, and it's not going to knock all the cables out underneath there. Let me show you that rig while we're at it. I created this a couple of years ago. We stopped using it 2 weeks ago. But this basically is my Behringer mixer. And you'll notice it's on a pegboard. And one thing that it's a pain to do every time you go into a location is that you have all the time in the world you want to if you want to get into a place and set up. But you got like 30 minutes to get out of that place before they turn the lights off. So what I did is I created pegboard kits for the most part. In this case, I've got the mixer, I've got a headphone distributor, I've got a monitor, and they're all tied down to the pegboard with zip ties.
Oh.
And so you'll see, I'll show you a couple of other systems that are built like that. But this pegboard is the same width as this luggage carrier right here, this carry-on luggage. So basically, I'm able to just put the whole thing in there as is. I just have to fold the monitor down and carry it out on location. And the other thing is power supplies. Power supplies are a real pain in the butt. So I'm not sure I can hold the mic at the same time and do this, but I basically took all the warts, and there's about 4 power supplies stuck on this end of a lunch bag. And the only thing coming out of it is an extension cord that basically gives it power, and all the power cables that are going up to the unit itself, over here.
And so that's power for the amplifier, power for the mixer, and power for the monitor.
That's the monitor, the mixer, the headphone, the amplifier, and this Cat 5 HDMI transmitter.
Ah, okay.
And you'll notice something right here. If you look at this transmitter, you see it's marked O, and it's got white on the power cord right next to it. Because I don't know how well we can see this over here, but the headphone mixer right down there has got a little orange tape on it, and the plug itself has orange on it. And the reason being that they're both the same size cable, but they're 2 different power supplies. So you don't always know if you're going to have who you're going to have help you out, and they could end up blowing things out on you. So that's one of my tips to the tricks to the trade, is to color code your power cords with your units besides labeling them, so you know what they're like. Walking back around to the front here, these headsets are actually pilot aircraft headsets. Found them on eBay. I was able to get a set of 4 for about $120. So basically about $30 a piece. And the only thing I had to do is this little conglomeration that's all taped up, is I had to change this unique unusual, it's not really a 1/4 inch, it's like a 2/8 of an inch adapter. And I found an adapter that was able to go ahead and make an XLR. And phantom power is all you need to be able to run this thing. So this basically gives my guys a soundproof way of hearing themselves, and also doing a little bit of noise cancellation, but the best we can, because as you know, Tom, when you were up here, there's a band right over our head over here playing at every time out as it is. All right, so let's talk about the wireless transmitter. Well, I mean, you can see the setup right here. And by the way, Tom, I was able to finally get the NDI to go from my second computer. I had to do the same thing because I had a new router that I did last night, and I had to turn media streaming on before I could finally see my output from my main laptop to bring it over to the second laptop.
All right.
So as Tom we experienced basically this year, this first year I'm doing laptop only. Normally I had been doing multicam with a Blackmagic production switcher. And now I'm just using 2 capture devices. I've got an IO Gina, which can give me up to 4K. And then I've got a Extreme Cap U3, just giving me 1080 30p. And those are my 2 inputs. One of them is taking a feed from that HDMI extender over Cat 5 from the camera above. And we'll walk up and see that in a little bit. The other one is taking a feed from this cable, which I've got running underneath this cord cable, the cord cover, over to here. And there's the receiver for the wireless transmitter. Now, wireless transmitter, again, this is built for the home. You know, the thing that keeps it from working in the home are walls and any sort of obstructions to line of sight. So if you can get it as high as possible, especially above people's head, I've got about 80 feet range. I could pretty much go from center court to underneath the basketball court, and sometimes even right across the waist. And we're going to actually try to test that when we get a chance here. So that's basically got powered. Cat 5 is coming from the college. By the way, they've got gigabyte internet here. I mean, I did speed tests. You know, there's a meter that goes up to 100 megabits per second. This thing was pegging at 236. So there's no problem with bandwidth. The biggest problem I have is laptop being able to put out as much bandwidth. And of course, that's me. You got to self-promote yourself. All right, we're going to walk up to that camera up there. I'm going to basically walk over this railing over here like I do every night I work this games. I'll give you a shot at the court side as I'm walking up. And the picture's still good? Let me know if the picture goes out.
All right, so far so good. So far
Okay.
so good.
All right, here we go. We've got this is the main cam for following the game. I'm using my handle for holding the camera here. Okay, so same camera in this case. So I got matching pictures. I've got a monitor over here so that you got a bigger display to work with for the camera guy as he's moving it back and forth. So I have to split the HDMI coming out of this camera, and I go through an HDMI 2-in-1 splitter. One goes to the monitor, the other one goes to the HDMI over Cat 5 extender. And I did the same thing with pegboards. I'm not sure how well we can see this. I've got a pegboard that fits into this little lunchbox here. You see the theme with all my stuff, lunch boxes. Those are my professional cases here. In this case, I've got the power supply, I've got the HDMI transmitter and the HDMI splitter in here. And that way, at the end of the night, all my guy has to do is unplug the cable, unplug this power cord in the cable, unplug the extension cord that we've got running to a power cable underneath here. And that, instead of having to work about 4 different items to separate it, he's just got to do camera and then that bag. Any questions on that?
Let's see. Rafael wants to know about your transmitter. And Kenny wanted to know: are you using the NDI Cam app on your phone?
Yes, I just used that $20 app, Android app on my Android phone.
Okay.
Like I said, I finally got that to work.
All
We're
right.
going to walk across the court now, and I'm going to go over to the scoreboard, and I'll show you what we've got going on over there.
All right, folks, if you're just joining us, this is RJ Murdock from Make a Scene Studios in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. He is live from the court side where he does periodic basketball games there at the local university, the local state college, and he is rolling up on the scoreboard system that's built into the arena there and is going to talk about that.
Right, you are. You're correct. We are on the scoreboard. All right, so the scoreboard is a Nevco, and I'm using a device called a ScoreBot, and it's something I picked up from a service, an internet service called SportzCast.net, and that's sports as in SPORTZ, CAST, cast.net. And they've got several different units that are available that can connect to scoreboards, but you have to get the ones that are specific for the scoreboard you're working in. In this case, I lucked out that the college was using a Nevco scoreboard, and the high school where we do the live streaming was using a Nevco scoreboard. So I was able to use this in both places. Now, this is the only unit you need here, it and its power supply, but you notice, again, the theme, the pegboard system, that there's what do we call that, an access point that's not powered up and connected at the moment, but if I don't have an internet access like I don't have at the football stadium over at the high school, I'm able to go ahead and plug in this Cat5 over here into this access point, and I've already pre-programmed this access point to be able to log into my hotspot. So with my laptop in one room and this scoreboard thing on the other, we're able to go ahead and communicate. And what it does, it takes the codes basically from this scoreboard up here, and it's giving me all the information that they're providing, the home team, the score, the guest score, the timeouts, the shot clock, everything else. It actually sends it over the internet. That's why there's a internet connection on this thing. And then it brings it back to an application I've got on my laptop that I use for the overlay, the real-time scoreboard overlay. So it actually has to go out of the building through the internet and back to me, and it's about a half a second off because of that routing aspect of it. But this is not the pros. This is not the NBA. I'm gonna go ahead and you know what? I'm gonna mount this camera back down again. I think I've shown you most everything that I can think of. Somebody was asking about the transmitter. They were wondering what it was. Say the IO gear. I think it was $200 or $230 at Best Buy when I bought it. It's probably cheaper now, probably half that price now, $130 or so. I'm going to go ahead and turn this. Go ahead and take over for a second while I remount this camera so I can get back in front. I can't think of anything else to show you.
Okay.
And,
all right.
I'll show some stuff on the laptop.
Isn't this great? This is so great. All right, RJ, Curtis wants to know what the zoom handle, the length was that you were using on your camera up top.
All right. Well, it's a regular Lank controller. Actually, that zoom handle is, it's a strange one. It's like a Feignet or something like that. I think Newer or Newy or New whatever they're called also has a version of it. Okay. It's kind of hard to find, but if you look it up on Amazon, you look it up on eBay, you'll come across it anywhere from $69 and up.
Okay. Rich wants to know, why are you down on the floor and not up in the rafters someplace where it's safer?
Well, my commentators at the time, it was easier for me to be able to hook up to them and also be able to communicate to them that I had an instant replay. So it really hadn't worked out the whole comm situation yet with them. So that's the reason why I had done that.
Gotcha. Okay. Very good.
So I'm going to show the desktop here for a second. Do I have it up here?
Yeah. While you bring that up, Rich, RJ is running this production. He's got two guys that come in and do play-by-play in color. So those are his announcers. He's got a camera guy up top that's doing his fixed camera, and then he's got another camera guy that runs the court. So it's a crew of 5. And let's see, RJ's got something.
If you want to go wide for a second,
yeah,
this is
wide.
The SportzCast Live Sports CG. Basically, it's connecting to my bot up in the upper left corner. That's transmitting the data. All this data is available from the scoreboard. Basically, I choose which field I want to use, home score, B, visitor score, period. And I'm able to go ahead and translate those into over a PNG file that I created for time, for the shot clock. And basically, I'll right-click on the names and change those. All right, can you still see me okay? Because I'm seeing a little bit of a
we're good
up on that. Okay.
And so the score that the timer that we saw is actually the timer on the clock that's running right now while they're practicing, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
I could turn on the cell phone cam and show you at the same time if you want. Hey, let's do that. Let's see if we can do that. Why not? We got toys. Let's play with them.
Why not? That's right.
All right. So we're gonna have to do some fast switching here.
Okay.
So there's the scoreboard. Well, it's not going to be as easy as that because I got to switch between vMix, and I haven't got that one captured by itself. All right, and there's the score over there. So if we got 20-54. And we can see on the cam over here that we're pretty close to that, 20-44. So I didn't have time to set it up things side by side, but at least that gives you an idea.
There we go. That's the idea. All right.
Got to remember to turn the audio off on that NDI camera. There we go.
RJ, how long do you think it takes you to set up?
That's a good question. One of the things I forgot to mention was for that camera up on top there, and that is Cat5 cable and XLR cable that are running up and down. The reason why they're cable because the wireless wasn't always as reliable as you'd like it to be. So basically, I set it up for the season. I'll go ahead and tape down the Cat5 and the XLR along the steps here so there's no tripping hazard, and I'm using gaffer's tape, which is a lot stronger and not as sticky. Easier to pick up and clean up afterwards and reuse than regular duct tape. And I chose this year, I finally got smart last year, and I got gray so that it would blend into the floor. It's already gray as it is. And it's almost invisible to most people, and it keeps being all taped down. There's less of a tripping hazard with that. So that helps right there. So basically, at the end of the night, I know, Tom, you left kind of early, but between my two guys and I, basically, we're pretty much wrapped up in 20 minutes. As soon as that last handshake goes on, we turn off the live stream. I've got each of those guys. One guy's taking care of the camera stuff over there. The other guy's taking care of the wireless camera and that stuff. And then now my commentators recently started bringing their own mixer and headset. So at least the setup I showed you is just I wanted to show you something. But they actually have a system called the JK Audio Remote Mix Sport, and with some Sennheiser headsets. And the sound quality was just so much better on that. When I look at it, it's a $500 mixer, and each one of those headsets are anywhere about $150, $200. You better hope that it has some good sound quality to it. But now that gives me one less thing to have to worry about setting up or tearing down. And let's see, I think I've got those guys in here somewhere that I can show a picture of those guys. Any chat stuff going on of interest?
Yeah, let's see. Ba-dum-bum-bum. I think you've answered most of it. Oh, Kenny wants to know about the walkie-talkie again, and the brand that you like.
Okay. Let me see. Where's my walkie? Grab one over here real quick. Now, this is the one thing I didn't get a picture for, but it's a Retebis. It's R-E. I don't know how well you can see that or not. Yeah, so
That's
this
great.
is not very good. Retebis. I picked up 10 of these on eBay for $150. And as a matter of fact, let me show you. Switch this to my. Notice a theme on the pegboard system again. I was able to go ahead and create a setup to power these things, and all I have is a power strip that's zip tied down to this pegboard. Each one of those little walkie supplies is zip tied down as well, and basically I just carry that in one of these shopping bags and store it that way. But I can pull it out and I can take care of 6 automatically. So I got 10 of those for about $150, and I picked up those Secret Service earbuds. I think I picked up 10 of those for about $50 more. So for less than $200, I was able to get 10 very good walkies. They have very good range, the very long range. The other thing that's nice about them is the fact that they actually have the audio to them. I'm not sure if this one will work. I'll pull off the one that's on me here so that you can hear it on the microphone. But as you turn it on,
power on. 1, 3, 4, 3.
telling you what channel you're on.
1.
And also when the battery gets low, it says battery getting low. So you don't ever get caught not having good comms, because you're going to know what it is and what channel you're on. And there's no additional button. And when you press to talk, you don't get that annoying beep beep like some of these Shepherd radios go. So it's a very affordable radio. I think it probably comes direct from Korea or something like that. It's almost a Kenwood, I think, as far as the connection is concerned. If you're trying to get headsets for it, it's a Kenwood walkie headset adapter. And highly recommend this. I use this on all my film crew stuff. Ready for the next toy to show you?
Ready to go.
All right. The Brick. This is a laptop power supply. When I ended up doing the live streaming of the football games at away games, there was no guarantee I would ever get in a press box. So I had to find, or that I can even have access to power. So everything was basically powered by battery, camera, laptop. If I did the laptop battery, especially if you're streaming, doing all the scoreboard and everything else, your laptop's not going to last for more than half the game. But with one of these on here, I've been able to go almost 4 hours on the laptop without having to have power. Okay.
All
what else do we want to show?
Let's see.
Let's see. I go through my Google Drive, and you want to go full screen. I don't know. I can probably
Yep.
a couple of these. Yep. There's me at the. This was at the actual. We had an NCAA basketball tournament here. It was actually on the score table, and I was handling the instant replays for the referee using the vMix instant replay. So I had the little monitor on a Lazy Susan that I stole from my dining room table, and I would just rotate it around so when the ref came over and they wanted to see the last play or check out what happened. And because I'm taking very close to near real-time scoreboard and shot clock, we're able to use that scoreboard information that's being recorded on that instant replay at the same time, so that they can tell if they were in or out, or shot clock violation and stuff like that. So it's kind of a fun thing to do. CBS Sports comes in the evenings and catches the big name, high upper end colleges, and we kind of get some of the lower ones on the live stream. And I've been live streaming those instant replay because I'm recording it anyway. I'm there, and the promoter really enjoys that and likes that. And again, thank you, YouTube, for making live streaming with instant availability afterwards and DVR capabilities very simple to use. Again, my hat's off to YouTube and its ability to do that, and it's really freaked me up. Speaking of my commentators, I was just noticing that so here they are. They've got that JK Audio remote sport mix. That's what they use to be able to dial into the radio station. And in front of them, I had a different monitor. This is actually a Ninja Flame. And I've also been recording the output from my laptop in the vMix output onto a SSD drive to try to free up my laptop from recording. So I was able to use that and double it as a recorder as well as a instant replay monitor for my guys to check out.
All right.
Get out of that. Too hard. Yeah, again, you see a theme with pegboard. Love them pegboards. And again, Santa Rosa Mall shopping bag. I use lunch boxes, coolers, and shopping bags. That's my pro gear there for carrying my stuff. There's probably a better look inside that lunchbox bag that had the HDMI splitter and the Cat 5 transmitter that's up on the camera up on top. Another shot of that camera. Let's see if I can zoom into this. You notice on this monitor, I've got a little bit of tape on the bottom of there. It's not because the monitor is falling apart, but it's because my camera guys don't realize that I've got a real-time scoreboard graphic on the bottom. So I want them to be able to frame it so that they're not cutting off feet or the ball. So another little tip of the trade here is just go ahead and put a little piece of tape on your cameraman's monitor or his viewfinder. That way he can frame it a little bit better. You saw those guys already. There's another look of that bag that's the transmitter for the camera up on top without being in the bag. So everything is tightly compact so that the only thing I've got coming off of there is the orange power cable and the power for the monitor, and then those two HDMI cables to plug into the front of the 1x2 matrix HDMI splitter, the Cat 5, and up going into over here.
RJ, Tommy wants to know: Are you a student of the lean strategy?
I'm not sure I know what the lean strategy is, but
he's got it in all. He's got it capitalized, so it must be a thing.
Yeah. It must be a thing. And this is another look on the color coding. It really helps a lot if there's different power supplies with the same size plug. Color code your plug and your units themselves so that no confusion when they try. You have somebody else trying to plug it in, or even when you're in a rush, you'll always end up doing something like that. Not on purpose, but it may happen.
Rich wants to know, why did you choose Cat 5 instead of SDI to get your video down from the top?
That's a good question. I don't have an SDI capture.
Ah, okay.
So basically, we're working off a laptop right now. When I was doing the Blackmagic production switcher. All right, I was doing the HDMI. When I was doing the Blackmagic production switcher, then I had that SDI capability. Yeah, and then I would possibly do that. Now, what I'm really excited, I finally got the NDI to work, and I'm using the NDI phone app over here. It looks kind of weird. What I'm hoping to do is pick up two. I'm going to try this out. It's actually late in the season. I wish I was able to get this earlier because I've always been wanting to add a backboard cam. It's something that would be basically fixed to the back of the glass. have it powered by another USB power pack, and NDI the footage as the ball is going into the hoop without having to worry. So there's one less capture device because I'm using the NDI directly. Now, it's kind of late in the season, but I know there's a smartphone, a cheap smartphone called Blue, BLU. I think there's a Blue Studio 4. It does 720. It'd be very interesting to see how well that would work and how fast my Wi-Fi would work to be able to show that type of footage when the players are playing.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
I feel like I've been talking forever.
Well, and
Pretty
you
close
know,
to it.
you have covered a lot of territory in a short amount of time. And I mean, you know, you're talking about probably weeks or months of getting these little ideas one at a time, implementing them, making your setup that much more portable, that much more reliable. Well done. Well done. Very cool. I mean, the guys in the chat room, you know, they're not saying much. They're just stunned. They're envious. You know, they wish they were there. John wants to know what the audio quality of the Retevis radios is.
Actually, really good. Good distance. I mean, basically, we use it on the golf course when we do the golf tournament that we do every year. We usually communicate definitely from tee to green on a par 5, sometimes over to the next hole as well. So they got a pretty good range. You know, of course, things are always line of sight, so that always makes a difference as well. But it's a great way for camera crews to communicate with each other. And it's actually a trick I learned when I got a chance to be on a reality TV show camera crew about a year and a half ago. And I saw how they were using the walkies to talk to each other and say, take this shot, I've got this shot already. So nobody was able to see what the other person was doing, so they had to communicate that. So I ended up picking up myself one, and basically I used to do hardwire comms until I get my roving guy. I wish I had a good video to show this guy hustles. He basically hangs out at the 50-yard line, and then when there's a foul shot, because it's great to get the shot of this person shooting the foul right up front, he runs to the end, get underneath the basket so he can give me that shot. And then sometimes at the end of the game, they're all fouling. So he's going back and forth. I pay that guy a little bit extra because he actually he's like a team player in a way, because he's like a part of the team, because his stamina has to be up there. So you got to have a young guy, because when the pros do it, I wish I had footage of this. I do have some CBS photos. I wish I had set that up. But they have a guy underneath each basket sitting in an office chair. So he's with a shoulder mount camera on him right there. And so basically he's able to roll out of the way, go back in based on with the players coming in. And that's why they're able to get that type of shot there. I'd like to be able to do that type of shot sort of without being able to roll away, but be able to just stick one of those blue smart Android 6.0 smartphones with an NDI output to see whether I can get that footage. But I've got one more game next week, and that's it. So I'm not gonna dish out $100 to find that out yet.
You'll have to hold that idea over till next year.
Yeah, if it works on a distance and I can get a good Wi-Fi distance transmission, I might do it for like a Go Post or Field Goal cam, because that would be really easy to just set up there.
All right. Would you, I want to be really respecting your time here, RJ, and thank you for spending so much time with us. Will you go through that wireless rig again and tell us about the transmitter and the receiver? We're still getting a couple of questions about that.
Yeah, give me a second. I'll go ahead and I'll grab a camera and I'll put the whole system together in front of you here.
Okay. All right. All right. And while he does that, if you're just joining us, you're wondering what the world is going on. We are, this is Streaming Idiots, of course, and we're live from the State College near Fort Walton Beach, Florida, where RJ Murdock of Make a Scene Studios is about ready to go live in a little while to broadcast men and women's basketball, and he's taking us through his basketball setup. If you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook or Periscope or Twitter, and you feel like you're missing out because we don't appear to be responding there, you're right, we're not. Come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com easternshorebroadcasting.com. Click the watch live button, and you'll get the same video, but you'll also get the chat room right below, and you can ask questions and see. You know, RJ, I think Rich Ignacio is going to be in Pensacola in May doing jet ski racing, and you guys ought to have a little meetup there too.
Yeah, that's definitely a plan. All right, you want to go full screen on me? And I'll go ahead and show this rig here.
Yes, indeedy.
Okay, so again, this is a HDMI. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. That wasn't very much zooming. All right, again, this is an iOmega, and I'm sorry, IO Gear transmitter. It has 2 inputs, 1 HDMI output. It is powered by 5 volts and requires about 2 amps. So what I did was I took a USB cable and spliced in a small adapter that I picked up at Radio Shack. In this case, I actually think it might be spliced 2 different cables together here so that it would power in here. You notice, again, the color coding. I wanted to make sure that transmitters and receivers match, so I used a little electrical color tape to go ahead and match the transmitter and receivers, as well as the power supplies seem to be a little flaky or tricky as well. So again, I use that color coding. So I've got a little 1/4 inch to hot shoe mount over here. Normally this camera has 2 hot shoe mounts, one in the front, one in the back. I just got this one. It's brand new. It was used. It didn't come with that part. I'm still trying to find a way to replace that hot shoe over here. But I would basically mount it this way so that I had a short run between my HDMI output on the back here to it. So I'm using a short little, I don't know, it's about 1 foot cable. When you take off the plug part, it's really only about 9 inches. Coming out of here, going into there. And actually I have, recently, I have a little right angle that I'm able to put coming out, and it's facing upward, so this will plug in and keep that bending of the cable as much. So I'm going to put it on the front for right now because I've done that before as well. And then I picked up a power bank. This one I think had 23,000 milliamp power capability. It's got 2 outputs. The top one is a 1 amp output. The bottom one is a 2 amp. I've got Velcro on the bottom of it. So this is the material side, and this is the rough side. And I will basically just Velcro that on there and then plug in the power. And once I power it up, you got lights glowing, and it's trying to make a connection to the receiver, which I don't have the receiver up at the time. So basically, that's my handheld rig. And it's, for the most part, pretty streamlined. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of comments about that. And somebody suggested that we take away Velcro and electrical color coding tape from you, and you'd be helpless. So take away all your tape, take away your Velcro, take away your pegboard, and you just have a big bag of cables. It would take you 3 hours to set up.
It's just a lot longer time tearing down and setting up. Yes, absolutely.
All right, RJ, what do you think the range is on that camera? The wireless?
Well, as far as the wireless, on the box, it says up to 100 feet line of sight. I try not to push it, but it does disconnect. And I have 2 of them, but if you have 2 running at the same time, they're running on the same frequency, and they basically do a digital handshake. But sometimes if I have my camera guys cross each other, it will pick up, the receiver will pick up the other one and then lose connection, and they both lose connection. So I'll lose both cameras at the same time until they finish their digital handshakes and come back live again. So I try to avoid doing 2 at the same time unless I can split them up so that each of the camera guys, I'll put a receiver on both ends and just say I did a live band at a convention center, and I had the receiver on one end for one camera and the receiver on the other end. And I told those guys, never go beyond center. Always stay on your side, so that way your signal is strongest to your receiver.
What do you think the latency is on that setup?
Not bad, really. I mean, it's almost good or better than the NDI camera for sure.
Okay. All right. Very good. Yeah, JP is suggesting we take away your zip ties also, so you're stripped of all your essential tools.
And thrift store luggage, computer bags.
That's right. The lunch bags.
I finally broke down and actually bought an actual camera bag. I mean, like a really nice rolling one, because I've always carried two cameras in one large camera bag, and I would always be tearing it up. So I finally got myself, I think I spent $130. But it's a rolling case, and I can actually fit all three cameras in there, plus my little laptop and everything else, and I'm rolling it in. I actually had somebody comment the other day and going, "What's wrong, RJ? You look like you're professional now."
Little do they know. Yeah. Well, that's very cool, man. That is so cool. I'm jealous, and of course, I'm not jealous when you're carrying all that stuff in, because I followed you the other night. But that's
yeah.
Really
we were in a hustle mode because we just finished up the other show, and
right.
Time was tight.
Time was tight.
You never wanted nothing not to work correctly. And I think that was the first night I was trying to do. No, it wasn't the first night I tried to do NDI. That was last weekend, until I discovered that issue with the turning on media streaming. Every time you switch your router, that made the difference. I think network discovery and media streaming made a difference for that NDI working. So I'm looking forward. So I got tonight. I actually have, because Tom was there when he was there 2 weeks ago. When I was using the Blackmagic production switcher, I was only using one capture device. So with that, I was basically doing a one capture instant replay off of one camera input, but I was switching with the production switcher, so I had multiple angles going on. But this year, I nixed the production switcher. I wanted to go laptop only because I picked up a second HDMI capture card for USB 3. But once I did that, and Tom was there, I could not stream, record, and take both inputs and instant replay at the same time without everything choking. I mean, the CPU was basically hovering above 80 to 99%.
Yep.
And I was choking. So as soon as I stopped the record and the instant replay, that made a difference. Now I'm looking forward tonight to actually using the second laptop setup that I have over here to do the NDI directly to it, since Tom showed me how to do that at the studio. Switch over to live. I just said, all right.
Are you live? Yes.
We do a saludito para la gente de República
Meter Raider.
Dominican Republic over there, my people allá que van a ver el juego en la noche, ya tú sabes.
I've got the audio turned off on that, so you missed all that. But I wanted to show you the dual laptop setup over here. So this will be my main system over here, doing my switching and my instant replay. And tonight I'm going to try for the first time my NDI out here to stream and record. So I'm going to take this time. I've got the 5:30 game. So after the after show, we can figure that out, and we'll see how well that works. Out to you, Tom.
Okay. All right. Well, this is very, very cool. Very, very cool. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
It's fun to be able to show lessons learned and see if other folks can can build upon that as well. And I've always invited local students and stuff like that to, if they wanted to do a shadow ship. It's not an intern because I don't put them to work, but they can just hover and follow around and ask questions. If I can answer the question, I will. If I say not right now, but they can see what's going on and see what's happening. And any tips I can show at the same time is always a big plus.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, RJ, we're going to close out the show, and we'll slip over to post show, and we might have
All right.
a couple more questions. But really do appreciate you coming on. We'll have to get you on again in the future. Folks, this has been RJ Murdock with Make a Scene Studios in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. If you're in the Fort Walton, kind of the Destin, Panama City, Pensacola area, and you need someone to do some live streaming for your event, RJ is the guy. RJ, you got a phone number you want to give out?
Well, actually, the website would probably be a better thing.
Okay,
and
let's
that's
do the website.
EmeraldCoastTV.com.
EmeraldCoastTV.com. There we go. All right. Super.
So that's where the game will be live tonight.
All right.
I was going to try to see if I could bring up that web page and show you real quick here. So yeah, if you go full screen, that's the website, EmeraldCoastTV.com, and you'll see the Panhandle Conference icon there, and you can click on that, and that'll show you the games lined up. One of the other tricks I did, I thought I was done, and I was telling Tom this before, is I set up a page that had the entire games, all the games, men's and women's for each day, all pre-set up on a website page. I pre-set up YouTube for scheduled events for all of those, so I can embed the codes onto that page. And then I also used a notepad and copied all the YouTube codes for the stream key. So basically I could just pull up a notepad on my system and just copy and paste without having to try to redo everything in YouTube. So everything you could do, as much as you could do beforehand, the best thing, everything you could do before you get to a venue is always the best.
Good deal. All right, champ. Well, thank you very much, and we're going to get you again on in the future again, of course. All right. Take care, RJ. We're going to hope he stays around for just a second so that we can have him in post-show. But did you learn something? I hope you did. If you have questions, you can send them to me, easternshorebroadcasting.com. Actually, it's Tom at easternshorebroadcasting.com, and I'll pass them on to RJ. Or you can just go to his website, emeraldcoasttv.com, and find out more information from him about what he's got going on there. What a cool thing, RJ. We really do appreciate it. And next week, you want to see, let's see what's on for next week. Oh my gosh, I erased my calendar. Well, we'll just have to post it on Twitter and on Facebook what's coming on next week. So go to facebook.com/groups/streaming idiots so that you can check out what's going on the show. And heck, you can even join, and then you can participate in the conversation there. Great chats, lots of cool tips being shared back and forth, and that's a great place for it. So, on behalf of RJ Murdock and on myself and heck on all of you, thanks for tuning in. We love having you here. Come back and visit us again next week, same time, same station. Toodles. Okay, we are back. Let's bring back RJ, and we'll turn on his audio. RJ, you still there?
Right. I am here, and the team has stopped practicing now, so it's nice and quiet.
Okay, we had a little bit of buffering there at one point, so folks are about, maybe a minute behind us right now. But let's see if we missed any questions there.
If you want to put the chat window up, I can watch it on the YouTube stream. Well, actually, your closing just is happening now on the YouTube. So I see the buffering you're talking about.
Yeah. Let's see. Curtis had a question about the specs on your laptops. Tell us about your laptops.
All right. Well, the main system is an i7 4700MQ. I believe is the Intel chipset. It's an HP Envy 17-inch touchscreen monitor with 4 USB 3 ports. That's kind of hard to find. a laptop with USB 3 ports, with at least that many of them.
Right.
HDMI out, dual hard drive. I would like to eventually switch out the main and put in an SSD, because my second laptop that I just got is just an i5, but I just put an extra SDI or SSD hard drive I have on it, and man, I can't believe how fast that is.
Cool. All right, let's see what else. Just a lot of thanks to me for having you on here. No, a lot of thanks to you for having it. Awesome amount of information and techniques. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, let's see. What about, are you using vMix HD, or are you using one of the higher ends of vMix? You're using 4K, aren't you?
The next to the last of the high-end side. So I think that's the 4K, and then the next one's Pro.
Okay. Yeah, the top one is Pro. Yeah. So are you using the 4K? Got it. And I hear something in the background. Sounds like the the Microsoft video that the animals running through and nature everywhere. Is that you?
Oh, that could be on. Let's see. Do I have that? Not on this system, but it could be coming off my laptop. I've got these these headphones on. I can't hear anything, but that may be actually playing audio. So let me shut if I can shut that off.
Yeah, there it is.
All right. Cool.
All right. Yeah, I think we're hearing the show that you're monitoring too, because I can hear myself in the background. All right. Earlier, people were asking if you had the same problems that we do about music playing in the background, and whether you were streaming
that's a good
on
question.
YouTube.
That is a great question, because yes, this year I got smart for the Emerald Coast Classic. That's that NCAA tournament. That's I think it's the third year that they've done it here in Northwest Florida at the arena here. And last year I was very disappointed to find out that all of a sudden that nobody could see it, or because the audio got muted out, so nobody can listen, or they can watch, but they couldn't listen. And there was one game where I think it had Kanye and Taylor Swift songs somewhere in the background, and they just basically cut it off. Nobody could even see it at all. It was just denied. And I was like, I've never wanted that to happen again. So what I ended up doing, and this is what I talked about the last time we were talking at the studio about doing assignable audio, was basically I finally did this last week after you and I had done a few things. I went ahead and took an audio loop of buyout music. It's a song called Born to Ride, which is kind of a mock of Born to Be Wild, but it's a nice little guitar riff type of thing. And I just set it up on the loop, and I have it constantly playing, but the audio is off. And what I ended up doing is I took my wide shot up on top, and I used the multi-view to overlay that on it. So that's how I was able to assign that audio to that particular input, that audio input, but give a visual, so that when we do a timeout and my announcers take a break, and if the band's playing, I have no problem. They're very loud. We don't need anything else. But when there's a intermission or a break that's longer and the band's not playing, the DJ will start playing music. I just go ahead and switch that shot and have that dun 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 dun. during that time and during instant replays, I'll have it doing the same thing as well. So that way I can avoid that whole copyright issue. So far this season, nix. I hadn't had any issues with audio. The biggest disappointed though is the dance team, because as much as I'd love to be able to show those parents that may be watching their girls dancing, and my wife's part of the college here and she's actually a dance instructor, so they're all her girls in some ways. I have to shine up the music on that because I just don't want to get nailed by YouTube for having some sort of copyright music on there. So I still keep the record on all my cameras because there's always times where I have to go back and redo things again. So I try to record on every device I can, on the cameras, on a master output from the HDMI output going into my Ninja Flame to the actual laptop itself. I record everything, and then with these guys, in the beginning of the season, it wasn't so much, but they started becoming undefeated. I'm going to get hit up later on for being able to do a highlight reel because that's what happened 2 years ago. These guys went to first in the country for junior colleges. So I always take my cameras recordings and I start to archive them in case that happens for later on. So it's always smart to record while you got it. Digital media is a wonderful thing. Long gone are the days with mini DV tapes and times out. And gosh, I have a large closet completely full of DV tapes from all past events and shows and stuff like that.
So you guys are streaming on YouTube, and then the archive is on YouTube too, right?
When you say the archive, you talk about sometimes I'll
on demand.
So far, like this year, I was finally able to go ahead and include some opening animations and try to work with my commentators so that they're radio guys that they think once they start talking, I should be recording. So I have to kind of I'm getting them trained, but I'm getting it to the point where I'm setting it up so I don't start the streaming until it's actually, the beginning of the logo, the opening titles and stuff like that. And we start live. So pretty much for the most part, only if there's been any issues with bad stuttering, bad issues with the cameras, that I've just basically been using that. If there's an issue, I'll go back and take the high definition footage, the 1080 footage, because I'm streaming at 720, and I'll redo that and create a second video, and then I'll create a little YouTube link, little speech notepad thing, a little bubble in the corner saying click here for HD version, so they have a little bit higher quality that they can watch. But that's work. I got to do that the next day. It takes up half my day between cutting it, rendering it, uploading it. Unless I was here at the college, man, they got awesome internet over here. I can't wait to see how much I can push this tonight with the second laptop.
Mike is asking, and I think you've already talked about this, but you installed the Cat 5 from the bottom to the top yourself, right? The school didn't do that for you.
No, because they have an in-house system where we could go to the network hub, the patch panel, and be able to reroute one end to the other. But you don't know how much distance you have, and I've tried to minimize that distance because I think with the Cat 5, I'm only good anywhere from 100, no more than 160 feet, if that. So if you try to go through the in-house system, you don't know how far away that closet is before it comes back to you again. So I don't risk it. Plus, they look at me like, what are you trying to do? Now that we're getting NDI, it may change things a little bit. So oh my God, I can't believe, I can't wait to see you out there. But I haven't been to NAB in over 10 years. I think 2005 was the last time I was there.
It's changed just a little bit. There's been just a little bit of advance in technology in 10 years.
Yeah, so I want to see all this network IP-driven camera systems that are out there, and comm systems and everything else that they may have.
That's what we're waiting for, that box that'll plug onto the back of your camera and make it NDI compatible. They announced it last year at NAB, and we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, and I was just researching it. I was just reading the forum as well. And there's some guy who's got one that's built into a monitor, but it's a $4,000 system. and it's a little bit more on the high end.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's getting to the point where I've seen so many people just using their iPads. There's and there's apps that they're doing multicam streaming basically off of that. So you see all the equipment I have. I got a lot invested on here. I hate to be replaced by a couple of high school kids that basically have a couple of iPads put together. But you know what? It comes down to the reliability and quality and what you plan on doing with it afterwards. And then if it need be, and the stuff I do, I can always put on broadcast because I've got broadcast quality recordings of everything I'm doing.
Right. So you're streaming 720, but you're recording 1080.
That's correct.
Are you streaming 60 frames a second or 30?
Probably 60.
Okay. You've got the bandwidth for it.
No, I think it's probably 30. I don't think I've ever enabled 60p. And another reason why is because I don't really want to push that laptop as much. Now that I'm dividing and conquer here, I'm actually going to try to bump up the bandwidth more because basically I've always limited it to about 1.5, 1.8 megabits per second.
Right.
But I don't have a problem with the pipe. I have a problem with the vMix trying to do too much.
Sure.
So now that I've done a divide and conquer here, I'm really interested to see whether I can bump that up to at least 2.5.
Sure.
And, the better the bandwidth, the better the replay is later on. So.
Yep.
And the less I have to worry about the next day re-uploading a better version.
And the better the stream looks, especially for sports, because there's so much motion. The higher the bit rate,
right? And people are used to seeing other things. Everything is going streaming anyway, and they're seeing all these other things broadcasted. They're really good, crisp, nice, and 4K quality. And we're still dealing with the muddle of motion.
Yeah. Rich says you should be doing 60 frames a second.
All right, I'll try that next week after these guys win tonight. And they've already locked in to be the conference winner, and we'll go to state. And that way, if it doesn't work, I'm okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, you'll know pretty quickly if it's working or not. It won't be a very long experiment if your PC. I mean, you figure going from 30 to 60 is basically doubling the workload.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And that's going to be double the amount of data going over NDI, double the amount of streaming, double the amount of recording.
And you're splitting your bandwidth up. So basically, if I was doing 180 and I'm doing 60p, really I'm doing 30p at half that rate.
Right.
As far as the image quality is.
Right.
All right. What's that about muting our cell phones before this thing starts?
That's not a cell phone. That's somebody's in my on my website trying to chat with me, and I forgot to turn that off. We'll have to let it go until it doesn't answer. Actually, I thought I turned it off and said I was invisible. Oh well. Well, hey, thank you again. This has been awesome.
Yeah, it's been exhausting. I'm beat now. I'm going to go find a couple of chairs in the bleachers here that I can hide and take a nap for the next hour or so.
Well, I look forward to seeing you in April in Las Vegas at NAB, and then
that's gonna be fun.
And then Rich is probably going to get a hold of you so that you guys can meet up when he comes down. I think he's in Pensacola one weekend and Panama City another weekend. So between those two, you're right in the center in between. So maybe you guys can hang out together. It's fun there's just something fun about meeting together and just sitting around and talking shop. I always like that.
I love hopping on a camera if I can too.
Yeah. Rich says yes. Okay. All right. All right. Well, guys, thank you. RJ, thank you. Folks that are tuned in, thank you. We are going to wrap things up here and be back next week. Yes. RJ,
right.
Good luck tonight and good luck to your team. Hope they win.
Yeah, go ahead. Come on over, guys. Check out EmericoasTV.com and watch it live.
That's right. Okay.
Go watch the men's game because they're awesome. They started 7:30 Central Standard Time.
7:30. Okay. We got it.
All right.
Got it. Good deal. Thank you,
See
my
you
friend.
there.
Bye now.
Bye.
Okay, we are going to end the meeting with him. And that was pretty cool, huh? That was very cool. Emerald Coast TV, .com. And Curtis has posted the short link. There you go. There you go. So, RJ Murdock, pretty thumbs up, huh? That'll be great. So tune in tonight and watch the game, and and give him some feedback. Give him some feedback. Everybody likes to hear how they're doing. Saying, "Hey, that looks great," is fun. I mean, it's always nice when you're when you've got somebody saying nice things about you. But it's also nice, and you guys do this for me, to say, "Oh, your audio's a little low. You're clipping. You're buffering." I couldn't do anything about the buffering, but anyway, it's nice to see that kind of stuff. So tune in and help him out. Yeah, that's good stuff. This streaming community that we're building is really important stuff, and we need to take care of each other. So that's my little thing for the day. What's James got? James has got his basketball stream. Apparently they play basketball in Australia. How about that? So Merle, Boris, Martin, Dave, Jan, Raphael, Rich, Matthew, Curtis, Bill, Dave, Andrew, Peter, Jens, James, North Carolina. I guess it's Carolina, huh? North Car, Chris, Jerry, Philip, John, Mike, Guest 627, Giles, Martin, MT Head, Guido, Kenny, Rudy, JP, Nick, Mr. Cole, and TJ Bowd. Thank you for tuning in. And for those of you folks that watched us on YouTube and Twitter and Periscope and Facebook Live, thank you. We appreciate you joining in. We'll have this one posted up, just the show part, here in an hour or so, but you can go back and you can DVR, rewind this one if you missed a part of it. And we will catch you next week. Thanks so much. And I'm going to leave you with a little bit of chat here, and that'll carry us through until the stream runs out. Take care.